Good evening and welcome to the hashtag VodaPay Honest Conversations Twitter space. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are so excited to have you here and we're excited for the conversation that we're going to be having. My name is Yamkela Mdaga and I will be hosting and facilitating today's discussion. It is International Women's Day today, so a very special welcome to all the women joining in today's space. Today, we'll be talking about all things women entrepreneurship, particularly in South Africa. And we'll be discussing the changing landscape of women entrepreneurship. And we'll also be looking forward to the future to try and paint a picture of where we would like to see it going. Today, I'm joined by three phenomenal women who will be joining me in today's discussion. Joined by the founder of Baby Yum Yum, Amanda Regaili, and her partner and head of operations at Baby Yum Yum, Sisi Kuzwayo. Hi, Amanda. How are you?
Hello, how are you, Yamkela, and everybody else? And happy International Women's Day to everybody.
No, happy International Women's Day. Hi, Sisi. How are you?
Great, Yamkela, how are you? And hello to everybody who's listening.
Oh no, I'm doing great. Thank you. Can you two please just tell us, perhaps Amanda, can you just tell us about yourself and your business, Baby Yum Yum?
Yamkela, in one word, I like to describe myself as an inspiration. I am a super overachiever who is a mom as well as a businesswoman. And I started babyyumyum.co.za as a platform to educate and empower parents with content, information, tips and tricks, and resources to help them on their parenting journey. And through something that I love, it has evolved into not just a content platform, but it has developed into a maternity benefits specialist. It has developed into a app development specialist, which is where we have the tie-in with VodaPay. And it's really just grown into different areas. And where I see opportunities, I just grab them.
No, fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Amanda. And Sisi, can you also just tell us a bit about yourself and your involvement with Baby Yum Yum?
So, Yamkela, I'm an Africanist. I'm passionate about the continent. I am passionate about people of the continent who love the continent. I love learning. I always say that I like being in spaces that I've not been in. I love interacting with people who know a lot more than I do, which is, almost everybody. And I'm passionate about women and where we're going as females and about empowering females and about being empowered by other females. In terms of Baby Yum Yum, as you mentioned, I head up Baby Yum Yum Health, but I'm very integrated and I love integrating the company as a whole and just pushing and seeing how far we can go in terms of where we're at. Because literally in terms of the industry where Baby Yum Yum is, the sky really is the limit. We are our own glass ceiling.
No, that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Amanda and Cece. We're looking forward to engaging with you today. You can find, for everyone else here, you can find Baby Yum Yum's book, A Nurse Service, on the VodaPay app. And that's literally exactly what it is. So you're able to book a nurse to come and see you where you are. So in the same way that you would call an Uber, but if you need, some kind of medical attention, you can book a nurse that can come to you. So thank you so much for that introduction. We're also joined by another phenomenal woman whose name is Gloria van Graan. She is the founder of Exeter Sports, which is a premium multi-sports store, which you can also find on the VodaPay app. Thank you so much for joining us, Gloria. How are you today?
Hi, Yamkela. I'm well, thanks, man. Happy International Women's Day to everyone. I am super excited to be joining you today. Just excited to be in this space today.
No, that's absolutely fantastic, and we're excited to have you, Gloria. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and a bit about your business, which is also a store on the VodaPay app?
Okay, so I'm also a mom, a very passionate, excited, and looking sort of businesswoman who has stepped into a very dominated male industry, but very excited to learn so much more about the industry and to be in it. So just a bit of background in terms of the business itself. We specialize in cycling, running, and triathlon apparel. And then we obviously we do cycling. We sort of have a workshop that does servicing and repairs as well. We have I opened up the store about 3 years ago, my first store in Johannesburg in Midrand, and then opened up another store in Cape Town a year ago. Been quite an exciting journey, and looking forward to where it takes me.
No, that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, Gloria. We're so privileged today to have, two women who run businesses that are thriving in their own right and in their own space, and we are so looking forward to hearing your insights and just hearing you share your perspective on women entrepreneurship in South Africa as South African women that are women entrepreneurs. So just before we get the conversation started, for everyone here, if you're unfamiliar with VodaPay, VodaPay is a new super app that launched towards the end of last year, and it's essentially a mall in your pocket, and it's available to all networks in South Africa and not just Vodacom customers. So on the app, you're able to do a multitude of things. You're able to shop from some of your favorite stores, including Exeter Sports that we've got here today, and the services offered by Baby Yum Yum. You're able to buy airtime, data, electricity, and water. You're able to pay your bills, such as TV licenses, DSTV accounts, and more. And you're also able to pay in store whenever you see a QR code. And there's so much more that you can do on the app. So we'd really encourage you to download the app and explore and shop. For today, the hashtag is hashtag VodaPay Honest Conversations. So please do engage with us by using this hashtag, and please tweet us through the space and share any questions you might have for our guests, or you're also more than welcome to share any insights that you would like to share and that you think would be valuable for everyone here and everyone on Twitter. Just a reminder on that hashtag, it's hashtag VodaPay Twitter, hashtag VodaPay Honest Conversations. But yes, let's get this conversation started. I think, Amanda, I'll start with you, and we can start right from the beginning. Can you, from your perspective, paint a picture of what the entrepreneurial landscape looks like in South Africa right now for women, particularly?
Yamkela, as a woman in South Africa, I am particularly excited about the potential opportunities that lie in this country. I think the sky really is the limit. There are so many opportunities out there, and I think, when people come and they say that there's so much doom and gloom and so much negativity in the country, I literally just want to shake them, because I just look around me every single day, and the way I describe how I see the opportunity at the moment is I feel that, I always say to people, I feel like I don't have a basket big enough to pick up all the opportunity, and I don't have arms long enough to pick up all the opportunity. If you had to relate it to flowers around me, there's so much happening out there. And as a woman, it's almost like we've almost been welcomed with open arms in many circumstances into different industries where our expertise and our skills are really, really being welcomed and lapped up. So we are being welcomed in these industries, and that is really where we need to be focusing on, together with the actual basic skills. And I'm not talking about skill sets, I'm talking about the actual skills that we have as women, in terms of intuition and that sixth sense that we have as women. We put that together with our amazing skills that we do have, our actual learned skills, and we are a formidable force. So tons of opportunity out there. Open your eyes and find it and latch onto it.
No, thank you so much for that, Amanda. I absolutely love the positivity in that answer. And Gloria, I'd like to ask you the same question as well. From your perspective, can you just paint a picture of, what you think the entrepreneurial landscape looks like in South Africa right now, particularly for women?
In Killer, I think I can sort of agree with Amanda. There is lots of opportunities. I also always look at people thinking or saying that, oh my goodness, it's not working, I don't know what to do. If you do look around, and sometimes it doesn't have to be something big. It can be small opportunities that you must actually just grab with both hands and run with it. There are challenges. I'm not going to lie. I think being in a male-dominated industry, I do have challenges. It's not always as easy and as accepting as maybe some other industries. Um, so, um, but I do think and I do know that things are changing and that there is different, there's definitely some and some good opportunities for women to put themselves out there and to make a success of their businesses.
No, thank you. Thank you for that answer, Gloria. And I definitely agree with you on both points. So thank you for that insight. Cece, I'd like to ask you, how would you say that this particular landscape that we're discussing, how would you say it has changed over the last few years?
Yeah, Miguel, I think generally, I think in terms of the landscape is that there are, for me specifically, I think there are more women that you see who are examples. If not maybe a decade or a couple of decades ago, you would hear of women entrepreneurship who are doing this and that. Some of them may not be people one would have been able to access. I think now what's made it more accessible is the sense that there's people that if you are stuck, if you want somebody to talk to, if you want examples besides, people you can read about or, see on social media, the actual real people that someone can find and relate to and maybe even reach out to as mentors, as coaches, we also make things just a little bit like Gloria says, things can be challenging, but make things a little bit more palpable. So maybe they can give you ideas, they can give you tips, and they can also give you lessons learned from their experiences, and also just help navigate you about. And if you're in a space, maybe like Gloria says, hers is male dominated. Ours is really like I said, ours is not a very saturated space. So it's almost like an unknown. You could find people who could give you experience about when they started in their space that was new about how one could possibly navigate that. And people are also open to introducing you to their networks as well, which I think is great. And obviously, if there's women who are there for you, it's a lot easier as a woman because you feel it's someone who can relate to you.
Sure. No, thank you. Thank you for that insight, Cece. And I definitely do agree with you on those points. I'd like to just remind everyone on the space that you're more than welcome to engage with our questions as well, to share your answer of what you think the entrepreneurial landscape looks like for women in South Africa right now and how you think it's evolved over the years. So please just tweet out your insights and your thoughts. Remember to use the hashtag VodaPay honest conversations. We're interested to hear from you as well. So to Gloria, once again, I'd like to throw this question to you. There are many things that people generally believe about women entrepreneurship, but what would you say have been some of the biggest misconceptions?
Emkele, there's quite a few. I'll sort of just mention a couple of them and then maybe just hone in on one of them.
Okay.
So sort of one of them is women lack confidence. Women can't lead a business if they have kids, or women are bad negotiators. And I think in all of them, and also that women tend to choose the more lifestyle type of sectors because they feel more comfortable in that as opposed to branching out to your more male dominated industries, for example, in construction or healthcare or the sports industry, for example. I think in all of those, just the few that I've mentioned, I think we've proved ourselves over and over again that we can step into any industry and actually make a success of it. It's all about the effort that you put into it. Obviously, there's a lot of other things that sort of adds to it, the support, the financial side of things. So there's a lot of things that supports it, but I think women can basically operate as well as anyone else.
Sure, thank you for that, Gloria. And I think you bring up something very, very, very pertinent there. In fact, you bring up a lot of pertinent things. I'm interested to hear from either Amanda or Cece what you would say have been some of the biggest misconceptions, particularly about women entrepreneurs and women in business.
I'll take this one. I think for me, most definitely one of the biggest definite misconceptions is that you can't be a mother and raise a business at the same time, or should I say, have a business and raise a child at the same time. I actually almost feel that by having a family gives you the skills to be able to grow your business at the same time in the way that you would grow a family. It actually teaches you to manage your priorities and juggle things at the same time. So for me, that is a huge misconception. I think as women, we are powerful, we are calculated, and we are able to juggle things, and we are able to take on so many more things on our plate. So for me, that is a huge misconception. We can do things, and we can certainly multitask and do it damn well.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And I think, even just in terms of the misconceptions that you, Amanda, and you, Gloria, are mentioning, I think these are things that women, even in a corporate or kind of like a 9-to-5 work context, go through. And these are kind of the walls that need to be broken down. But a lot of work is being done in this space. And I think women, like you, women that women that become people that other young girls can also look up to kind of see that I can do this as well, is really a powerful story to tell. So thank you for sharing that insight. I'd like to ask you, Gloria, once again, what opportunities do you think the rise of online shopping and just the general online digital space has presented to women in business and women entrepreneurs?
I think with the online opportunity, it obviously gives women the opportunity to be more flexible. I mean, if you, from a business perspective, obviously there's financial consequences of that you have if you open up a store, for example. If you're going online, it gives you the space to be able to offer a product to a big range of people. I think your reach is far bigger with an online store. It also gives the opportunity for women to, if they setting up a new business, that they could continue with their full-time job while setting it up and building their online presence as well. So there's a lot of opportunities, and I think, there's definitely a lot of opportunities for women on the online space, online shopping space.
No, thank you for that, Gloria. I'd like to ask you the same question, Cece. What opportunities do you think the rise of online shopping and just the digital space in general has presented to women entrepreneurs and women in business?
I think, Yamgela, on top of what Gloria said, it actually gives us opportunities because it's opened a space where women themselves can create their own create their own businesses in that space. So it gives us more options to create our own online businesses when you have online stores. And the way they set up nowadays, you don't even need to have a warehouse or anything like that in order for you to have that type of business. So it allows flexibility, and it also allows you to then also move into a digital space that, if you have an idea that you can convert into something that's digital, you're able to do that with the way that online platforms are today.
No, thank you so much for that, Cece. And while we're talking about online shopping and kind of the digital space, both of these businesses, Extra Sports and Baby Yum Yum, are businesses that you can find on the VodaPay app. And I'm curious to find out from both founders, how has, I'll start with you, Gloria, how has having a store on the VodaPay app, how would you say it's benefited your business?
Sorry about that. It's been phenomenal, and it's really been fantastic. It's given me a great exposure, which I'm obviously a leverage from. It's elevated my business in terms of credibility as well. It's also given us the opportunity to be on a platform that we can share with businesses that is much bigger and that has been established many years ago. So yeah, I think it's absolutely phenomenal and I'm actually so grateful to be part of the platform.
No, that's absolutely lovely, and I mean, we definitely love to hear that. Can I hear from you, Amanda? What new opportunities would you say being on the VodaPay app has presented to you as a woman in business?
Yeah, I'll take that one. I think in terms the VodaPay app, Book a Nurse, we had the concept for a while. We had the technology for a while, and obviously jumping on, having it on the VodaPay app, obviously firstly allowed us to have that relationship with VodaPay/Vodacom that we didn't have before. So it went from us having this idea concept that we'd had for a while to actually solidifying it and having it surviving as as an app. As you mentioned, Book a Nurse we call it an Uber for nursing, which is a travel nurse that comes to you and provides a service for you. And obviously another great thing that it worked for us is that it came at the perfect time. It came during COVID. People were afraid to go to clinics, afraid to go to, especially if it's a mom needing wellness baby checkup, or somebody needing their own vaccinations done at home. So it created that platform so for more people to know about who we are. But one of the greatest things is that it also for us created job, allowed us to create job creation. So besides us having to expand our company as Baby Yum Yum and bringing on Baby Yum Yum Tech, we also obviously had to bring in staff to make sure that this app runs, as well as also then empowering other people in the space, like having nurses, the traveling nurses who are working, and all the other suppliers that we're working with. So besides the relationship, it really benefited the business in terms of growth and us doing our bit of empowerment, and and job creation in the country.
No, I absolutely love that. Thank you, Cece. Amanda, did you want to say something?
I think really just adding on to exactly what Gloria said. I think having the association with VodaPay and having the platform that we sit on as well, really it gives your brand additional exposure and the credibility as well. And it really does just give your brand the horsepower that it does need in terms of the association being associated with a big brand such as Vodacom and VodaPay essentially, and gives you, access to the distribution channel.
Which is a national, national footprint, which we now have, which is, it hits all corners of the country.
Absolutely.
In terms of you trying to push your own app where, wherever you were in your small area, we immediately have access to the whole country.
Correct.
With the subscribers that they have.
Correct.
No, thank you for sharing that with us, Amanda and Cece, and thank you, Gloria, as well. I'd just like to remind everyone listening that we want you to engage with the conversation as well. So please do share your thoughts on, what you believe are some of the misconceptions about women entrepreneurship in the country. Please let us know your thoughts of what opportunities you think the rise of online shopping has presented to women entrepreneurs. We want to hear from you. We love to hear from you. And just a reminder on that hashtag, it's hashtag VodaPay Honest Conversations. And now to jump back into the discussion, Gloria, you mentioned earlier that there are a couple of challenges, a lot of challenges actually that women entrepreneurs face in this country, balanced out with the opportunities that exist as well. And we know that one of the key challenges is access to funding. and just kind of the entire, just everything that falls under the umbrella of financial inclusion. And one of the key missions at Vodacom Financial Services is to champion financial inclusion, particularly for women and youth. So just before we jump into this particular segment of the conversation, I'd like to just hear from you, Gloria. What does financial inclusion mean to you?
Hemkela, so financial inclusion to me means it's basically a process by which individuals and businesses can access affordable and timely financial products and services. It should be something that you don't get judged on. So anyone should be able to have access to these services, irrespective of their backgrounds, irrespective of the earning capabilities or yeah. So basically, yeah, that's basically what financial inclusion means to me.
No, awesome. And I think just to kind of carry on that train, Gloria, how would you say, kind of a lack of access to things like business loans, for example, impacted women entrepreneurs in the country, and women who have perhaps considered becoming entrepreneurs? And if you have a personal anecdote for yourself, if you've ever taken out a business loan and that's perhaps helped your business, you're more than welcome to share that as well.
Okay. So yeah, it's a big stumbling block. In my personal experience, it hasn't been easy. I think the business that I started, has basically been self-funded, and it's not easy to grow a business if you don't have access to loans. So there is a lot of companies or institutions or that says there's the opportunity. And again, in my own personal experience, when I've tried, there's always so much red tape involved that it makes it very difficult for a new business to access funding, because they want so many things in place before they grant you any loans or finance. So and it impacts on your business, because we've built a business. I mean, this is my third year; it's going into the fourth year of my business, and I think it could have grown so much quicker, or if I had access to additional funding, because businesses needs stock, it needs cash flow, it needs it needs those things to make it grow. And I just find that it does impact quite hugely on the businesses. I know that, and I've just read this evening about Google that has made funding available for women in business in Africa. And I do think that there should be more businesses that actually engage and make it possible for women to have access to funding to grow their businesses. Because otherwise it becomes a struggle, to be honest. It's not easy. It puts a lot of pressure on you as in an individual, and also on your families. But there should be more opportunities. That's basically what it is, for access to finance.
No, thank you so much for sharing that, Gloria. And Cece, Cece and Amanda, I don't know if you guys also want to jump in on this conversation and add your insights. But just before you do, I'd like to encourage the audience to also just share their own stories or advices in this regard, in this particular genre of things. Hashtag VodaPay Honest Conversations. But yes, Cece and Amanda, can we hear from you as well?
Sure. Yamgela, in terms of me, what I think in terms of, what does financial inclusion mean to me? I think as a woman and as a woman of color, I think the biggest thing is that it's actually proper participation in the economy. You know, it's not just you spending your money and literally you spending your money and paying taxes. I think it actually adds also to Gloria's point of being able to access loans, to be given and be trusted as somebody who knows what they're doing. You know, not having to where it's a catch-22 situation where you need to have all of this in order for you to get the funding, when you don't have all of these things in order for you, you know, to get the funds or to participate in the economy. You know what I mean? You're stuck in a very bad situation. So it is proper participation in the economy and not based on the fact that because you've got a husband and a house, you then tick those boxes and qualify to be given the nod from somebody from some big financial institution that you're good enough, to be included in the economy of this country. So that's what for me it means, and that's a huge stumbling block that we still have. I don't know if it sometimes feels better, and then sometimes it feels like it's one step forward and 22 steps, behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also just touching on that as well, to what Gloria said, the paperwork and the red tape that one has to get through to apply for this funding, it's off-putting. And I strongly believe, yes, I understand that institutions do take risks in terms, and they're trying to mitigate their risks in terms of handing out loans, but I believe that apart from giving funding to businesses, there should be education on funding and business education. So instead of spending time getting people to complete reams and reams and reams of forms, rather spend time educating them on businesses, basic financial education, stuff that they really do need to know, cash flow, things that they're going to use in their business that will in fact decrease their risk and rather give them continuation of their business. And therefore you can be, have peace of mind that their business is going to run successfully, as opposed to putting them off and making them complete so much paperwork.
But I think, just add to Amanda's point, I think education also starts in schools, because I think, and I'm sure a lot of people agree with me, the education we taught in schools does not at all help you to gear you up to be a so-called entrepreneur or a business person. I mean, even your own finances. A lot of people get out of school and they don't even know how to do a budget for themselves. And we wonder why we have the problem that we have financially in this country. So I think that's also important as part of participation in the economy, is teaching specifically young women when they're in school what that actually means, and not teaching things that I'm not at all saying maths is useless. I was a science and math student, so I love that. But teaching things that are actually proper life skills in terms of how you can take care of yourself, and understanding what it means to have a bank account, and you know what I mean, all of those things. That for me is also part of that financial inclusion that then upskills you when you then decide to be an entrepreneur. Because if you can take care of yourself and your small little, even if it's stipend that you get, I mean, obviously then when you move into a place where you can take care of a business, your mindset at least is a little bit more fertile for what you need to take on.
Sure, ladies, thank you so much for sharing those insights. I think you've painted a really real picture of what that particular process looks like for a lot of people, and I think it's a really, really big challenge. And on that point, I think it is worthwhile to mention that if you are a business owner and are looking for some kind of funding for your business, VodaPay actually does have a range of great funding options available for a variety of different sizes of business. So basically, depending on what your business size is and what you need to make it grow, and you can apply for this directly on the VodaPay app. So I think that is something worthwhile to mention for any business owners. But I do see that we have a request for someone to speak, someone called Himanshu. So I think perhaps let's give him an opportunity to share what he would like to share. But I'd just like to remind, while he still connects onto the call, so he's here. Hi, Himanshu, how are you?
He's on mute.
Yes, hi Himanshu. If you can just unmute yourself so that we can hear what question or insight you have for us today. But while Himanshu figures that out, I'd just like to encourage again everyone to please engage with us and to share your insights and your stories on the hashtag honest VodaPay honest conversations. And the discussion we're having today is around the landscape of women entrepreneurship in South Africa right now. We are speaking to the founder of Baby Yum Yum, Amanda Regaly, and the head of operations at Baby Yum Yum, Amanda Regaly. And we're also speaking to the founder of Exeter Sports, who both all three women are phenomenal women that are doing really great work in the spaces that they're in. I think Himanshu is having some trouble perhaps unmuting his mic. So I think until he can figure that out, we can continue with the conversation. I think just to kind of try to focus on the other side of things, I'm interested to hear from you, perhaps Gloria. You know, what has been really beautiful to see happen over the last few years with regards to women in business, particularly in South Africa. So if there's a particular highlight for you, or kind of like positive growth that you've seen, I'm just interested from your perspective. You know, what has been really beautiful to see.
Nicola, I think it's been seeing that more women are actually stepping up and getting in there. It's fantastic to see other women. I mean, obviously we network, we speak to other women in business. And I think what is encouraging is that people are positive. I think with COVID, the sort of the experience during the pandemic now, it's obviously been very, very challenging for a lot of businesses in general. But then there's also been a lot of women that has lost their jobs, that has had to sort of step up in terms of doing something else. So I think women are also just starting to step up and getting into doing something. And just a sort of an experience in terms of my own personal experiences. You know, sometimes it's not about the big things. Sometimes it's about the small things, the small steps that you take to get to the next bigger step. And you don't have to stop big, or you don't have to have a unique idea. You sometimes just have to take something that is already out there working, and you see that happening all the time. Women sort of, if you're looking at people selling food stuff or something that they're good at, and they start making a business of it. And I think we've seen it actually sort of happening when we were in lockdown, when people were stuck at home, and they came up with brilliant ideas in terms of changing things and changing their lives, basically. So, yeah, that's it.
Shino, thank you for that, Gloria. We have a question from Twitter on the hashtag, and I think I'll start with you, Amanda. So Victoria asks, I'd love to hear about the biggest lessons Amanda, Cece, and Gloria have learned along the way in their entrepreneurial journeys. So Amanda, if you could share some of your learnings and lessons with us today.
With pleasure. I think for me, the biggest thing that I've learned is definitely cash flow. It's wonderful to have big accounts, big contracts, big clients, but if there's no money in the bank, you can close your doors tomorrow. And unfortunately, that is the case that many businesses do suffer, where they obviously are not getting their money in from their clients, and they cannot pay salaries, they cannot pay rent, they cannot pay things, so they need to close their doors. Even though their big money is coming, it's coming. You need the money today. It's not about if, but, when, and how. It's about having money in the bank today. You need to have money in the bank, and you need to put away money for rainy days, for those days when that money does not come in, because you never know when there might be another pandemic. You never know when your clients might not pay. Cash flow, cash is king in the bank.
Sure. And Cece, we'd love to hear from you as well.
I echo Amanda's sentiment about cash flow is king. But another thing for me is you really have to, the people that you work with are, firstly, everything is teamwork. Like always, people always talk about, let's say, self-made, millionaire, self-made, whatever. There's nothing like that.
Correct.
Everything is teamwork. And, you have to like the people that you're working with. Because when it's hard and when you're working long hours and when you don't know what to do, it's easier when you're working with somebody that you genuinely like as a person and you like working with, because then it just makes things more palpable. It's very difficult when it's fabulous when you've got your head in the clouds and like Amanda said, everything's great and thing looks amazing. There's a tender coming. That thing doesn't happen, and you're sitting there and you're looking at these people and you're thinking, why am I doing this? If you're working with people you like, it's also easier to just sit and have an honest discussion about what can we do to survive to the next day, to the next week, and just keep going, as far as we're going. And also, like I said, and understand it's teamwork. Nothing is about one individual. No one has become wealthy by selling their own things to themselves. It doesn't work that way.
Correct. I think also, if I can just add in an extra thing there, one of the other things that I've learned really is that never stop growing your personal self and your business. Never put all your eggs in one basket. Always look for other pockets to get involved in, and also for yourself. You've got to keep yourself going in different areas, keep yourself growing.
And knowing what's happening, keeping your ear on the ground.
Absolutely.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for that. I love what you said, Cece, that no one's made a lot of money by selling things to themselves.
So true, yeah. Like people keep saying, it's not possible.
Correct.
Gloria, actually, I really want to hear from you as well. What have been some of the biggest lessons that you've learned throughout your entrepreneurial journey?
I think Amanda and Cece actually touched on both of them. But I think also one, and Cece sort of touched on this one, it is your teamwork, right? But for me specifically, my staff, you need to be really engaged with your staff and really sort of build a fantastic relationship with them, because your business will not survive with just you. So and also the people that you bring into your business, whether it be from an accountant perspective or, the things that you don't do yourself, you need to develop proper relationships with those people, because all of those human resources actually contributes to the growth of your business. I'm very passionate about my staff. I've started with my staff 3 years ago. I've got all of them still working for me, except for one who just recently left. But it's because of the relationship that I've built and the trust that we have. We've also given them the platform to really prove themselves, because sometimes, when you're a business owner, you sort of think you must do everything yourself and you mustn't share and you mustn't let your staff know what is happening within the business. And for me, it's the fact that I've always been open with my staff in terms of where we're at, how we're doing, where we're going, and giving them the ability to sort of and to grow the business with me, and giving them the tools to actually do that has actually been very, very beneficial. And then, as Amanda was also saying, cash flow, it's very true. I mean, and what I've experienced was, when I started off, I obviously started very small, having to watch what I spend. And a lot of the suppliers were putting a lot of pressure on me, because obviously they were dealing with companies who sort of purchases big amounts of stocks and that. And I would actually tell them and say, you know what? I'm just starting off. I'm buying what I need, and as I'm growing, I will actually purchase more, because it's great to have the stuff in your store, but if you cannot pay it at the end of the month, that pressure and it just keeps on mounting, and it can actually bring a business down. So I think those points it's crucial in a business.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Gloria. That is some really valuable insight from both Amanda and Cece, and from you, Gloria. Thank you for that. And Gloria, this is something you mentioned. This is something that Gloria mentioned earlier on when we were speaking. It's no secret that the pandemic had a disproportionate impact on women and it pushed many of them out of the labor market with very little prospects. So I just would like to ask you, Amanda and Cece, what advice would you offer to a woman who's looking to either participate in the gig economy or start a business, particularly in response to losing their jobs? So someone who's right at the beginning of this journey and has found themselves in this place, mainly based on circumstance. What advice would you offer?
Yeah, I think I'll take this one. I think that it's important to remember that you've lost your job. You haven't lost yourself. Don't lose your dignity and don't lose your motivation. You can start at the beginning. It's okay. Look for those little opportunities. Don't think of what you had and what you want. Think about essentially what you can get at the moment, what you can grab onto at the moment. I think, and I think also it's important to remember that whatever you start and what you do now, it needs to be something that you love. And sometimes there's a silver lining. Always, I believe. And sometimes it's a great opportunity to find something else that you want to do. Sometimes you just pushed in a direction for a very, very good reason. So definitely take it as a I know it seems hard in this sort of situation. Take it as a message, take it as a learning, take it as whatever sign you want it as. Don't lose faith in yourself and in your ability as a woman and as a business owner and entrepreneur, or as a positive contributing society to a positive contributing individual to society. Start small again, but you've got to start somewhere. For me, that's the most important thing.
Thank you so much for that, Amanda. Cece, do you want to add anything?
I think, the way we act now, I mean, Amanda's correct in terms of instead of looking at what you lost. I think and I think Laura also touched on it earlier. I mean, what we've actually seen happening is that there are a lot of people who started doing side hustles. Or started, they're actually, not really opportunistic entrepreneurs, but they're entrepreneurs because of the situation where they've had to think of a plan of what to do because, everybody's got to eat. So, I would say to them, so either, even if, I think what we get jaded by is that you think you've lost something, you earned maybe a specific salary and something went wrong. And, half a loaf of bread is better than nothing. So I think it's almost like find what is there and grow with it. And like we said, we very big as Baby Yum Yum on growth, on opportunities. And, if you're stuck in a specific mindset that, you studied engineering, for an example, and that's the only job you're going to do. In this situation where, and I think COVID really was an opportunity for the entire world and also for women, that gone are the days where you've studied one thing and that's what you need to stick with, is that you must grab any opportunity that's there. Whether it's something you think you're passionate about, and sometimes what you're passionate about is not what you're good at. So I think it's looking for those specific opportunities and seeing how you can participate in that and not waiting. I think there's also too many people waiting for things to happen. I think it's for you looking what's there and seeing how you can involve yourself in that.
And I just take our involvement with VodaPay as an example. Baby Yum Yum is a content platform, and it really is just by following another partner that we got involved with from a technical space, that we now have a technical app development division
within the company,
which was embraced by VodaPay, and it gave us the opportunity to obviously put our app onto the VodaPay platform. So sometimes things just happen because it's something small that you are dabbling in that can become really a fully fledged business and industry.
Shano, thank you so much for that insight, Amanda and Cece. That was some really valuable advice that you gave us there, so thank you so much for sharing that. We've got about 10 minutes left on our space. It really does feel like we started this conversation 5 minutes ago, but I'd like to just remind everyone on the space to please share your thoughts, share your stories, comment on what we're speaking about today. Today we are talking about women in business in South Africa, and the hashtag that you can use is hashtag VodaPay Honest conversations. I think just based on what Amanda and Cece shared with me, I really want to throw the same question to you, Gloria. What advice would you offer to a woman that's looking to either participate in the gig economy or start a business in response to losing their job?
They should just start. Just a story, a personal story again. When I was growing up, we didn't have much, and I was always the one who wanted to do something and to get some monies in so I could do other things. And I remember selling spices. I used to go to knocking on people's doors to actually go and my mom, my sister worked at a spice factory, and my mom sold the spices as well. And I was the one who went around selling it so that I could have pocket money. And over the years, I've actually just expanded in terms of little things that I added by doing. It's like Cece said, everybody has to eat. And when I had my first two kids, it was about making sure that I could put something on the table for them. And I would make rotis, or I would sell clothes, or I would. It's not always. You don't always need money, because even with the clothing that I sell, and this is many, many, many years ago, it was other people's money that I used in obviously selling for somebody else. So I didn't even have to put the capital in, but I could make profit off it. And that's how I slowly got into business, really. And today I've got a fully fledged business. It started off very, very small, and I was prepared to sacrifice a lot of things along the way. And I was prepared to do the hard work, like the things that some people don't like doing, but it pays off. So again, it's important to, and I think either Cece or Amanda was saying, sometimes it's not something that you've studied to do. I haven't studied to do to be in the retail space, but my studies has helped me to build what I do have, to add that experiences that I've had and what I've learned to build it within my business. So yeah, I think people just need to be to take opportunities and to make something of it, because you can make something of really.
Sure. Thank you so much for sharing that story, Gloria. What a powerful story. And I think, I think a big takeout there is really for a lot of people, what stops them from kind of taking that step or kind of stepping in that kind of direction is, imposter syndrome, or not believing in your ideas, or having doubt, or feeling like you need to have this mega idea, or feeling like you need to do this big thing before you start. But I think that story is really powerful in that it shows that if you've got the commitment, and if you've got, that resilience, and if you've got if you've got that thing in you that constantly wants to keep on moving, then you really can. You really can. So thank you so much for sharing that and for opening up to us, Gloria. And just like that, we've got about 5 minutes left on this space of ours, and I'd like for us to share some parting shots. So the question I'll ask, and I'll throw it to you, Amanda and Cece, first, and then we can wrap up with Gloria, is, what does the future look like for young women that have just started or are aspiring to become entrepreneurs? So what does the future look like, or what would you like the future to look like for young women in business? Amanda, I think we can start with you.
I think that the future looks very, very bright, particularly when you are supported by partners that, like Vodacom, VodaPay, who are prepared to embrace female entrepreneurs. And I think that a lot more companies, in fact, are seeing the value of supporting young females in this country. And I think we really, we applaud those kind of companies and we thank them. And I think that if you've got a vision, if you've got a dream, if you've got that feeling inside of you that burns inside of you, that you've got that idea that you need to get out there and take your idea and make a success of it, go for it. Don't wait for anyone's approval. Don't wait for anyone to give you the yes or the no, because they'll just knock it. Go out there and make a success of it. The universe supports action, not thought. Go out there and make the most of it.
I absolutely love that. Thank you, Amanda. And Cece, would love to hear from you as well. What does the future look like?
For me, Yamgela, I think, yes, there obviously are a lot of challenges, as we've mentioned, and challenges are never going to go. But challenges are also an opportunity to grow. For me, I think, like I mentioned in the beginning, I'm all about mentorship, coaching. And I think for young women, they've got more people that they can speak to. And I always encourage people, you'd be surprised how many people are open to giving you advice if you go to them. I think a lot of people think, if they see somebody who they, in inverted commas, see as successful, whatever your definition is, they're afraid to approach them and ask them how that person got there. And you'd be surprised how many people actually are willing to share with you and are willing to open their networks. Another thing I think is that there's a lot of, what I'm very big on is relationships. With relationships of creating relationships with people in an industry. If you see an industry that's interesting, find somebody who you can talk to, create a relationship with them. You don't know where that will lead you. That they may introduce you to somebody else. They may help you get into that space. And my last parting thoughts are: be bold, be brave, and don't be afraid of hard work. People go and they try something and then they get rejected and they listen to their friends, listen to their families. Just be bold, just go for it and work hard. Yes, work hard, work smart. But, if you do at least two of those, you should definitely get to where you're going to get to. And don't be stuck on madness of social media of what's current and what's not current. Everything that's new now was created by somebody at some point and did not exist. So if you believe in something, as Amanda said, go for it.
Chanel, I love that. Thank you so much for that positivity and for that energy, Amanda and Cece. And Gloria, we'd love to hear from you and from your perspective. What does the future look like for young women in business, and what would you like to tell them?
They for young people, I think they've got a far better landscape. There is a lot of opportunities for them. There's a lot of things that has already been put in place that wasn't in place just a few years ago. And I think my advice would be is don't feel that you're too young. If you've got something that you want to put on the table, seek out a mentor, seek out people that you can chat to and actually go for it, because there is opportunities for you. And the sooner you do it, the better. One of my parting shots would be, in business, don't take everything personally. You need to take things with a pinch of salt, because sometimes we think it is directed at you and then it's not. Then you sometimes lose an opportunity as well. And also to cultivate resilience. It's important in the business world. It's important for a woman to have that. So yeah, that's all from me. Oh, the other one last thing I've got one. It's you need to surround yourself with people who believe in you. I think so important, because there's so much negativity out there. And people shoot down ideas and stuff like that, and then you sort of start doubting yourself. Don't surround you with people like that. Find the people who's going to support your ideas and who's going to be positive with you. Thank you.
Sure, I absolutely love that. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. And this is for you, Gloria, for you, C. Thank you so much for taking our time to speak to us today. Thank you for the amazing insights that you have shared with us. Thank you for the really good advice that you've shared on this platform with us. We really appreciate it. And we thank you so much for having been here with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much for having us. Thanks, Yamkela.
And then also, thank you to everyone that has joined us on the space and to everyone that has engaged with us on this conversation. I think this was a really stunning way to ease into the evening of #International Women's Day. But yes, thank you so much for joining us. And please do keep looking at our profile. We'll be having a lot more of these #VodaPay honest conversations over the next few weeks and over the next few months. You're also more than welcome to let us know what you would like us to discuss, more than welcome to let us know what you would like us to speak about and put together. But otherwise, thank you so much for everyone for joining us. It is 1 minute after 7. And yeah, this was a really beautiful conversation with some really nice takeouts. The conversation will be on our Twitter page. So if you didn't catch everything, you're more than welcome to go back and listen to the recording or to share with your friends as well. But yes, thank you to everyone that joined us today. And we'll see you on the next one.